guys, it's Ara Blue here. I wanted to come on here today and talk about something that has transpired recently involving Mac Miller and his death. This is a very sensitive subject. I understand death is nothing to take lightly, and I want to pay my respects and say sorry to all the people who knew him personally and who are actually affected by this. But with that being said, I will try my best to go about speaking about this delicately, but I have a lot of issues with Tana Mongeau and her clout-chasing behavior in lieu of his death. And I just think it's so disrespectful and it's so disgusting, and I just want to give my 2 cents and maybe even pull a little bit of mental health knowledge from this, because I'm having so many issues with what this woman has done, and I just find it, just given her track record, I just find it so specifically disgusting and despicable. So yeah, I'm gonna jump right into it. If that interests you, just keep on watching. Alright, so on September 7th of 2018, Mac Miller passed away of a drug overdose. And when he died, a lot of things happened. A lot of people, came forward to pay their respects. There was a lot of people attacking Ariana Grande, which was not okay. And, just given the situation, given, the fact that she's grieving and a lot of his friends and family members were grieving, there's just so many things that were happening that shouldn't have been happening, and so many people who were being attacked that didn't need to be attacked, and it was just so disgusting. But when he died, there were also people like Tana Mongeau who had some things to say. And so what essentially happened was, once Mac Miller died on September 7th, I don't think it was even 24 hours after he died, there was a lot of people posting. And, when anybody dies, typically, when somebody passes away, especially if it's from very tragic circumstances, like a drug overdose or a murder or something of those natures, people do tend to go, and any death, but especially those that are more violent or more out of, ones that were, somebody died young, somebody died too soon. People go on social media and really do pay their respects, I love this person, they were my best friend, or we grew up together, and just sharing their stories and the things that they've learned and the wisdom they've collected from this person and what difference this person made in their life. That's not abnormal. It's very obviously normal for people to grieve and to reflect. And, a lot of times we take things for granted until we lose them, and that includes people. So, oftentimes when people are with us, it's not that they didn't appreciate him, but we realize how much space people take up in our lives and how meaningful they are to us and what value they add to our existence a lot of times once they pass. And it's sad that it takes their passing for us to fully realize what positive impact they've had on our lives. And so a lot of people, given the fact that he died, were coming onto social media and kind of paying their condolences and kind of grieving and making public statements, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people, about Malcolm and about the impact he made in the music industry and just in his life. And Tana Mongeau had something to say, and I'm not saying that she couldn't have come forward and given her 2 cents and been like, hey, he was a friend, he was a person I knew, and grieved her own way, because she did personally know him. But what she did was absolutely despicable. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give you a synopsis of the story. So once Mac Miller died, not even 24 hours after he died, Tana Mongeau took to social media. I believe she got on Instagram first, and she essentially made the following post. So the post was essentially pictures, or a picture of a private text message between her and Malcolm. And the caption, keep in mind this man has passed at this point, so he wasn't here to speak up for himself for this. So the caption of that post was, "A week ago, Malcolm James, I loved you. I got the privilege of loving you for years, and then getting to know you and finding out you were even more better than I dreamed. You made me feel something. You were sweet to me every second. You had this love for life and what you do that made me fall for you 10 times harder. To feel like I was unraveling every part of your soul, but have no idea the half of what you were going through. I wanted to come over last night. My soul is shattered. What I would do for you to tuck my hair behind my ear and kiss me one last time. I love you, Malcolm. I love you." So that was the caption of the post that Tana Mongeau posted on Instagram after Mac Miller's passing on September 7th. So that post, in conjunction with some tweets that she made later on, that essentially, I'll give a brief synopsis of the tweets that said, essentially, no way, like, this isn't happening, no fucking way. I just spoke to him last night. So I think that was actually literally for verbatim the tweets. And so she posted that caption on Instagram as well as a screenshot of their private text messages. And it pissed me off so much. First of all, if you didn't catch that, she essentially exposed an affair between the two of them. So keep in mind, allegedly, Mac Miller was seeing somebody named Miss Julia Kelly, and she came forward with what people are assuming is her version of an affair, and Tana Mongeau came forward first, but Miss Julia Kelly came forward after her, and they're calling both of them clout chasers. I'm not really going to talk about Miss Julia Kelly in this video. I have my own feelings about both of them, but I'm going to hone in on Tana Mongeau here. Tana Mongeau allegedly is currently in a relationship with Bella Thorne, Jay Alvarez, Hunter, her editor and videographer, at one point Little Xan, and I'm not saying, like, I'm not slut shaming here. Women can date whoever the hell they want. Tana can be polyamorous. She's not polyamorous, but she's that person who is currently seeing a lot of people, and in all reality, she's not actually seeing them. I think she's had sex with a few of them, and she's that person who I've noticed she exaggerates things a lot. I say that like that's like like something nobody knows. She exaggerates a lot, and a lot of times she exaggerates things for clout. Especially her relationship with Bella Thorne, which I'll get into in a second. But Tana Mongeau has a bad habit of, just like the night before Mac Miller died, she was making out with somebody at the Pornhub Awards, and there's a video of it. You can find it easily on YouTube. But she has a lot of situationships with people where maybe she's hooking up with them, or maybe she's not even having any type of sexual relationship with them at all, because in a lot of cases that has been the case. But she claims she's dating them, or she's had like a past with them just for the clout or just for like the lore of it. With Bella Thorne, I find it specifically problematic because there's nothing wrong with being bi or being lesbian, but I think it's offensive to lesbians and to members of the LGBTQ plus community that she's pretending to be in this relationship. She claims it's real, but it's clearly not real, because she just, like, the way she throws around words like love and boyfriend and girlfriend, and like, she really does abuse language as a way to exaggerate a lot of things. And so bringing it back to Mac Miller's death, she's using these words like, let me go ahead and pull up my receipts, sweetie. She's using words like, Malcolm James, I loved you. I got the privilege of loving you. If you've ever watched a Tana Mongeau video, she speaks like that in general, where even like during her TanaCon apology, which that whole shit show, you know, she speaks in a way in which she's trying to come off as sincere and genuine, and so she says like fucking a lot. She speaks a certain way. I feel like I've been told I sound like her, and that pisses me off, because don't try it. But you know, she has this way of speaking where she's trying to sound passionate, and she usually talks in this speed and in this, with this, literally how I'm speaking now. She does this, and she's trying to sound passionate, and she uses words like fucking, she uses words like I love you, she uses words like girlfriend, boyfriend. Like, she really abuses language as a way to try and evoke. It's really manipulative, and she's done it in a lot of situations in which she has been the main perpetrator and the main problematic person, and she's kind of abusing language to try and make it seem like she's being sincere when she's not. So like with her relationship with Bella Thorne recently, somebody like accused her of like essentially like almost like queer baiting, where she was pretending to be in a lesbian relationship with Bella Thorne, and there are like actual lesbians who are in actual lesbian relationships, and they're not doing it for clout, they're doing it because they're actual freaking lesbians, or they're bi. And Tana Mongeau has this and Bella Thorne's like very, very famous, so she's essentially using Bella Thorne for clout, and Bella Thorne's using her for clout, and their whole relationship, because they don't come forward and say like, oh, like it's fake or it's real. It keeps this allure that keeps people visiting their profiles. And so same with her and Jay Alvarez. As soon as she said she was dating Jay Alvarez, all these people, all her little fans were like, oh my God, you're dating Jay Alvarez? Oh my God. Like it was like a whole lore, and she never confirmed or denied. And so she keeps all these cliffhangers for the people who she's dating. So she's currently dating Lil Xan, Bella Thorne, Jay Alvarez. And these are all people who she's not in real relationships with. And even if she is, she's not in a real relationship with all of them. She's not polyamorous. I am not knocking poly people. There are poly people on this earth who have multiple partners. That's not Tana Mongeau. She's just really, she's being a clout chaser, where she has all these connections with people and to kind of suck off their clout. It's not even her sucking off their clout, because it is kind of like a mutual exchange between her and whoever she's doing it with. And I won't deny that she's probably had sex with a few of these people, but she tends to abuse language and fake sincerity as a way to get clout. And that's exactly what I feel like she's doing, given Malcolm James's death. And I just think it's so inappropriate, especially the part where she posted the text messages. It almost came off as though she was trying to be like, see, you see? See, like she was trying to prove something. Like it wasn't that she was trying to be sincere. And like, it came off as like, I wanted to, like, oh my God, I was talking to Mac Miller. Oh my God. Like she wanted to prove it, because the text message was very like acquaintancy and friendly, like meaning like it was like, I wish the best for you, Malcolm. And then Malcolm was like, I hope the same for you. You deserve the world, or something like that. It was very like not really a deep or like a message that revealed any type of affair or anything. But Tana pretty much outed this affair. And, you know, it's just kind of like, Tana, you are in a relationship with everybody and their dog, and that's fine. But please, Mac Miller died. There are people in his life who actually had like close relationships with him, and maybe you were one of them. I believe that to some extent they were friends, and I believe they did, and maybe they even had sex. But it's one of those things where, in my personal opinion, I don't believe it went any further than that. I think she hooks up with a lot of people, and there is not one thing wrong with that. But it's like, she probably had a very, just like she had sex with him, she hooked up with him or something. And I'm not saying she's not grieving or she doesn't have a right to grieve, but you don't have a fucking right to make his death about you. This is not about you, Tana. And it's just one of those things where I'm guessing she, just like with Bella Thorne, she's not in a relationship with Bella, but the way she speaks about Bella is as though they're in a relationship. The way she speaks about all these different people is like she's in a relationship. And she's done this too in the past with when she said the N-word, and that was disgusting and abusive and just so hateful. And the way she lied, like so many Nazi-ish racist people do, when, you know, especially like white folks, when they use the N-word, they want to pretend like, I didn't know what I was saying, as though like anytime they're being racist, they want to pretend like they're ignorant when they're not, and they're just in reality being abusive. And instead of just saying that, they instead want to fame ignorance and victim blame and blame people of color. And it's just, it's disgusting. Just own your shit. Tana Mongeau made a video apology for saying the N-word, and essentially in the video the whole time she cried and made it about her, as though she wasn't saying a word that is deeply traumatizing, offensive, and undermining to millions of black people around the world, especially young black women, who many of whom were looking up to her at the time. And it's like, you're sitting here saying a word that is offensive and abusive to the mental and emotional health of black people, and then you're going to turn around, and when you apologize, your apology is 99% of you making it about you, talking about how traumatizing and how much you and your butthole are traumatized by the N-word, and you're some white girl. And it's like, girl, you are not traumatized by the N-word. She was like, that word is so hurtful for me. And it's like, girl, this is not about you. This was never about you. Do not make the trauma of people of color about you. You are a white girl in Nevada or in Las Vegas or wherever you live. Like, don't make the trauma of black people about you. Bye. And like, that reminds me of this, because she essentially, Mac Miller died. She made this post exposing this affair and leaking private text messages, and she essentially used all this like persuasive and like loaded language as a way to make it seem like she had a deeper relationship with Mac Miller than what she did. And I don't know what relationship they had, but I damn well know it's not one that she needed to be tweeting about publicly after this man died and he couldn't defend himself. Like, that's what's dirty to me. And for me, it's like when she was lying about the N-word, saying she didn't know any better, making the trauma of people of color, of black people, about her. It reminds me of this because, and it's not by any means, I think these things are not the same in any regard. Like, they're both tragic and they're both sad and abusive, but it's like these are two totally separate things. I am not even going to make a comparison there, but I'm saying that what her actions are the same, where she's done something or something is traumatizing to another person, and instead of recognizing that and giving that space and honoring the fact that this isn't about her and that this is about somebody else's trauma or somebody else's hardship, she's instead making it about her. Even with TanaCon, the whole apology, she was talking about how she was fucked over and she's a young girl, and she's not that much younger than I am, to be honest. I just exposed myself. I'm a little older. I'm a lot of bit older than her. I'm not that old. Okay, doesn't matter. You know, with the TanaCon apology, there were kids waiting in the sun for like 10 trillion hours with no food, no water. She cheated a bunch of people, and the only thing she managed to be able to say was, I was fucked over, Michael fucked me over, Michael's a shitty guy. And he actually spoke about this situation specifically with Mac Miller and Tana Mongeau, and he's discussing it. I'm not even going to get into him, but you know that Michael Weist, first of all, Michael Weist, of all people, Michael Weist, the scammer, Michael Weist said something on Twitter to kind of like shut Tana Mongeau the hell up. And I will never ever in my life believe a word Michael Weist says, but you know Tana Mongeau is a piece of shit when Michael Weist can be right in a situation with her in it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but so what essentially happened was Tana was pretty much, she had exposed this affair between her and Mac Miller, and Michael Weist came for her and was like, hey Tana, I understand you're grieving, everybody grieves in their own way, but like Mac Miller died and you're like making this about you, and you just exposed an affair for a man whose body isn't even cold yet, and he can't speak up for himself, and like you could have said your condolences and said your piece, but you didn't have to expose this affair. And the fact that you are just makes it look like you're using his death for clout, and that you're trying to pull clout from a dead man. You're literally trying to pull clout from a dead man's chest, and that's not fucking okay. Especially since there are real people who had actual connections with him who aren't even saying the things that you're saying. So like, so Michael Weist called her out, and I don't like Michael Weist. I think he's trashy. I think he's disgusting. I think he's scum of the earth. But I think Tana Mongeau is just about the same. And Tana Mongeau like called him a pedophile, and I believe that 100%. But it's one of those things where it's like, Tana, if Michael's a pedophile and he's holding you accountable, what the fuck does that make you? Because it's like, like Tana, like, and then Elijah Daniel jumped in, which, oh my God, all these little like problematic little like rats. I'm just like, all three of them. But it's like, Tana, when a alleged pedophile, an emotionally abusive con artist and scammer can call your ass out and be right, you know you're wrong. Like, that's the thing. Like, so essentially Michael Weist called her out for being a clout chaser and for making his death about her. And after she made these tweets and made these posts, I think she deleted the post about Mac Miller on Instagram. I think she kept up her tweets. All these people were replying to her and saying, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's not about you, it's not about you. And I feel like that has been the rally cry from people all throughout Tana Mongeau's career. Because like I said earlier, if my memory serves me correctly, she has a bad habit of making everything about her. She used an offensive term, and in one of her recent videos, she said something, and I'm not even going to get into that because it sounded like very racist, but I think somebody had edited it out, but they forgot to edit out the beginning part, and I was like, wait, what did she just say? And I'm not going to make any allegations. I'm not going to even say what video it was in because I don't know, but it's like, Tana, and you have a track record of doing so many things, of doing just straight up stupid things. You use racially offensive and abusive language. You use language that's traumatizing to Black people and that's abusive and undermines the mental health and safety of Black people and Black suffering. You make that about you. You apologize for it and you make it about you. You throw a convention where millions of people, not millions, wow, she wish, where Thousands of people were standing in line for 7 hours, were denied food and water, were treated like trash by security, were spending money to support you. All these people spent money and time to support you, and you literally just fucked them over. And then when you were held accountable for it, you cried, manipulated the situation, abused your emotions, you played the boy who cried wolf and made it about you when you were the one who was the problem. Who else? Like, who's next? Because she does this all the time. So you traumatize and abuse your fans. You traumatize and abuse or play into the trauma of Black people. Then when this man dies, and all these things are on different levels, I'm not saying they're all the same, but I'm saying her actions are the same. And then when this man fucking dies, you make that about you. Like, stop it. Why is it that everybody, and don't say it's because she's young, because I'm not that much older than her, and I don't do that shit, and I didn't even do that shit when I was her age, and I know people who are younger than her who definitely don't do that shit. I don't know what type of privileged shit she's on, where she is just constantly thinking she can do whatever she wants and not be held accountable, but I'm sick of it, because she's done it for too long. And every time she makes a mistake, she just makes it about her instead of understanding the impact that her actions have. I don't know if she's a sociopath or what, but it doesn't seem like she has a very good grasp of how her actions come off, because it's like, a man has died. He is not present to speak up for himself. You exposed this affair, and yes, I'm going to call it an affair, because you seem to be dating 10 other people, and the night before he died, you were making out with a guy. I don't remember his name. His name's on the tip of my tongue, but he has like the red hair. I don't know, but she was making out with a gentleman at the Pornhub Awards, which is fine, but then stop pretending like you have these deathful relationships with all these people, because she fakes these relationships for clout, and she knows they're not real. It's like a Jake Paul, Erica Costello thing, where it's like a fake clout relationship that's being played out on YouTube, and she does it with all these people. She, like I said a million times, Jay Alvarez, Hunter, Bella Thorne, Lil Xan, and there's others, and it's like, girl, if you want to do that, that's fine. But when you're pretending like you're having these like deathful, like, if this is what you're gonna do, like, that's okay. I have an issue with the Bella Thorne thing, because it's like, please don't queer bait, and please don't like steal the narratives of actual like queer and lesbian women who don't get to have 1 million subscribers and all the support in the world. But like, I'm not judging you if you're bi or if you're a lesbian, but don't fake that just to get clout and just get attention, which is what she's doing. And then she's doing that same thing with all these other relationships, and then pretending like they're so deep, because like I said earlier, she has this thing where she kind of abuses depth and like deathful language and like powerful words as a way to come off as more sincere. And like in every video she's ever done, she's always like, you know, I am still that fucking girl who thinks she's in her fucking bedroom making videos, and I would have never fucking believed, because I grew up so poor and I wanted to fucking kill myself. And you know what? Like, she's always like abusing language, or Bella's my fucking girlfriend, I fucking love her and I want to be with her forever. It's like, oh, okay, she's your girlfriend, but also Hunter's your boyfriend, and also Jay Alvarez is your on and off again boyfriend, and also you're making out with a guy at the Pornhub Awards, and also you're having sex with Lil Xan, and also you're having sex with Mac. Like, it's fine. I'm not trying to slut shame. If you want to get around town, girl, you do it, and you do it well. But do not act like these relationships are anything more than that, especially when you damn well know they're not, and everybody in the fucking world and their mom knows they're not. And don't fucking expose affairs for people who can't speak up for themselves and who are dead. Also, don't pretend like you're having this deathful relationship with this man when you really weren't. You were probably just hooking up with him. And even if you weren't, Tana, he's dead. There are people in his life who actually knew him better than you, and they're not even saying all the shit that you're saying. And like, you could have said, oh, I feel this way and I'm sad. You could have expressed your grief and you could have grieved. But the fact that this is the life lesson. This is how I'm going to tie it back to mental health, because my channel and my the things that I do are regarding mental health. There is nothing wrong with grieving. There is nothing wrong with being upset. But there is something wrong when you take your grief and you use it as a way to rewrite other people's narratives. I have such an issue with that. Or when you make your grief like having a centrality complex, where you want to make grieving about you. Like, other people's trauma is not about you. And if you are, like, it reminds me, and this isn't the same thing, and this is going to be kind of like a slant analogy, but you know, I do a lot of activism in my spare time, and especially when we talk about privilege, there are a lot of very privileged people in this world who, when hearing marginalized people speak, they want to make the trauma and pain of marginalized people about them. And they're like, well, what about me? It's like, what do you mean, Becky? What about you? Like, everything's about you. Can we please give space to the people who everything isn't about them and they don't get space to grieve like you do? Like, it's just, it reminds me, the analogy that it's always given, and I'm not saying this is the exact same thing, but if Tommy hits Susie with his car, and Susie's on the sidewalk bleeding and crying and on the verge of death, it would not be, and Tommy, his car is perfectly fine, and Tommy's perfectly fine, it would not be appropriate for Tommy to get out of his car, call an ambulance, and be like, 911, hello? I need an ambulance for myself. Oh my God, I hit somebody and my poor car is just like so hurt and I'm so hurt. And like not even paying attention to the person he just hit, and like looking at Susie on the ground and being like, oh my God, like it hurts so bad for my car to hit you, and I feel so bad that I hit you, but not for you, but for me. Like I feel bad that I feel bad, and I like and then when the ambulance comes, Tommy jumps in the ambulance and then Susie's just dying on the ground. Like it's that type of thing where I'm not, you know, that, like I said, that was not a proper analogy that could be related perfectly to this situation, but it's like Tana Mongeau has this bad habit. There have been times where she's been the one driving the car, like with the N-word and with TanaCon, where she does these things that, you know, she's done, and she turns around and acts like when there's these people who are hurt and traumatized or who have been burned by her wrath and her fire, who are sweeping up the pieces of the glass ceiling she decided to break, she's gonna sit there and act like she's such the victim, and like she's like, oh my God, like I just like, you know how I feel, why would you say that, you put me in such an uncomfortable, like if you don't shut up, Tana, like like why are you making everything about you? Like there have been times where you were driving the car, and I'm not gonna say, you know, you are not responsible for Mac Miller's death, but it's like, he died, Tana. He's a person. And I'm not saying, I will never say that you can't grieve. Everybody grieves in their own ways, but you cannot be sitting here, especially the fact that you posted those messages. If those messages meant something to you, you wouldn't need to provide them to the world as proof. You know? Like, I can't even begin to like, Tana, like, the fact that she posted those messages as like a see, I knew him, was just such a clout thing. And like you could have like said your condolences without exposing the affair and without acting like you literally don't have a new lover every week who you're claiming to have such a death-full relationship with, but you're not, and you're doing it for clout, and you end up admitting it later. Like, don't make his death about you. Especially given the fact that even like Ariana Grande was in an actual relationship with him, and people are like blaming her, and this is like making major headlines, and Tana's literally just trying to get attention. She's literally clout chasing. I don't believe she had a depthful relationship with him. I believe they were friends. I believe maybe they hooked up once or twice, but I think she's milking this situation for her own clout, and she's abusing her emotions and her mental health like she always does as a way to get what she wants, because she's so overprivileged and such a little bitch that that's all she knows how to do. And I don't mean to be so vulgar, but like I just find it so problematic when overprivileged people make other people's trauma about them. And it's like, stop it. There are people who are actually grieving here, and you're grieving too, but the fact that you're gonna expose this affair for a man who can't speak up for himself because he's dead is so disturbing. And I just want to say one more time, like, to Malcolm's friends, to Malcolm's families, I am so sorry, because it's not anything to take lightly, and shame on Tana Mongeau. And even, I don't know Miss Julia Kelly, I'm not even going to speak on her because I don't know her history with things. Tana Mongeau has a track record of doing shit like this, but even her, it's like, Julia, he wasn't here to defend himself. And I mean, you didn't accuse him of anything wrong. You said great things about him. But it's weird to me that all these people want to speak out once he's dead. But when he was alive, where were all you? Like, I don't know. I have my own issues with all of this. And I think the lesson we can all take from this is we need to understand, and I might do another in-depth video. I always do a part 2 to every video I do. But we need to think about how we can grieve but understand that we're not the only ones who are grieving. Just like with the graveyard girl thing. Bunny, you can get mad at whatever the fuck you want to get mad at, but you don't have a right to traumatize other people with your anger. And you don't have a right to claim you have anxiety, which you do, but then be triggering the anxiety of working class people like baristas or waitresses and making their lives a living hell and literally getting them fired from their jobs and complaining about things that are so first world problemish and so overprivileged that, you know, it's just like, whatever. But it's the same thing with Miss Mojo, same thing with Tana, where it's like, hey, you have a right to be sad and grieve, but the fact that you're like kind of like breaking all these glass ceilings and you're running around spreading gossip just to clout chase and just to get attention because you still trying to recover from TanaCon, I have such an issue with that. Don't make this about you. Not everything has to be about you, Miss Privilege. Like, just stop it. Do not make a man's death about you. Don't. You can grieve, you can be upset, you can be sad, but do not make his death about you. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I just needed to rant because I think for me, you know, I've not dealt with, I'm not close to Mac Miller, who am I, but I have been in too many situations where people they make things about them or try and draw attention to themselves in sneaky ways, and it's just so far from okay. And I'm so, like, Tana has done this, like, I think 4 times this year alone, and it's not okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I hope you all found this video informative, or I don't know what you gained from it, but I'm gonna go ahead and peace out. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I have other videos that specifically center around more mental health and more things that pertain to mental health, and I might do a video about centrality complexes and people who make their trauma or make other people's trauma about them, or who feel the need to take up space when things such as this happen. It's something that's actually a lot more common than you would think, and it's not freaking okay, but people do it. But yeah, it's messed up. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. Again, like and subscribe if you like this video, and signing out. Bye.